Then their eyes were opened, and they knew they were naked. So they sewed fig leaves together and made clothing for themselves. Then they heard the voice of God as he walked in the garden in the cool of the day. So Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of God. But God called, "Adam, where are you?" When Adam heard God, he said, "I heard your voice, and I was afraid because I was naked, so I hid myself." And God asked Adam, "Who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten of the tree that I told you not to eat from?" So Adam, unwilling to take the blame, told God, "The woman whom you gave to me gave me fruit from the tree, and I ate it." So God asked the woman, "What have you done?" And she said, "The serpent deceived me, and I ate of it." So right there, both Adam and the woman tried to pass off the blame for what they had purposely done, first onto God and then onto the serpent. It really wasn't my fault. Then God cursed the serpent to crawl on his belly in the dust all the days of his life, and he spoke what the consequences were for the man and the woman. God spoke to the serpent, who is Satan, and said, "I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. It shall bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heel. And to the woman I will greatly multiply your sorrow and your conception. In sorrow you shall bring forth children, and your desire should be to your husband, and he shall rule over you." And to Adam God said, "Because you listened to your wife, the ground is cursed, and in sorrow you shall eat of it all the days of your life. It will bring forth thorns and thistles, and by the sweat of your face will you eat bread until you die. You came from dust, and you will return to the dust." And Adam called his wife Eve, because she was the mother of all living. Then God made coats of skins for them to be clothed, and the Lord God drove them out of the Garden of Eden to till the ground, and he placed cherubim and a flaming sword to keep them out. We have here the first promise of the Son of God, for he said, "I will put enmity between your seed," that is Satan's seed, "and her seed," that is God's seed. Why do I say God's seed? The seed comes from the male, not the female. So God spoke the word to plant his seed in the future virgin woman who would bring forth the Son of God. He went on to say, "It, that is his seed, would bruise the head of Satan, and Satan would bruise his heel, that is the heel of the Son of God." And to the woman, the consequence for her sins was that she would bring forth children with pain and with the negative circumstances that have to do with having babies and raising children. God had already spoken that the man and the woman were to multiply, but now there would be pain and sorrow involved. To the man Adam, the consequence for his sin was that he would have to work the ground fighting constantly against thorns and thistles or weeds to produce their food. He would work so hard that it would be done by the sweat of his face. So this is the beginning of Adam and Eve. It is the beginning of our human race. Genesis is the first book of the Bible. It is the first book of the Torah. The Adamic covenant is what God spoke to Adam. "Because you have hearkened to the voice of your wife, and have eaten of the tree of which I commanded you, saying, You shall not eat of it. Cursed is the ground for your sake. In sorrow shall you eat of it all the days of your life." The book of Genesis is the beginning of God's revelation of himself to man. It begins with the fall of the man in the Garden of Eden. The last chapter of the Bible ends with the redemption of man in the book of Revelation. There are 7 patriarchs in the book of Genesis. The first one was Adam. The biblical chronologists have put his date of existing at 4004 BC. Adam lived 930 years and died. His first son was named Cain. His second son was named Abel. In chapter 4, Cain killed his brother Abel because of jealousy. Cain had brought an offering of the fruit of the ground to the Lord, while Abel had brought the firstborn of his flock as his offering to God. God was pleased with Abel's offering, while he did not respect the offering that Cain brought. Therefore Cain was angry and killed his brother. Cain then was sent away by God, who put a curse on him. Cain was driven out from the presence of God, and he went to the land of Nod on the east of Eden. Sometime later, Adam and Eve, the woman whom God had made for Adam, had another son and named him Seth. The genealogy of Seth is shown on the chart. 5 generations after Seth was Enoch, who was the second of the patriarchs of Genesis. Enoch was the 7th from Adam. Enoch lived 365 years and walked with God. Because of his righteous living, God took him to heaven at age 365, so Enoch did not die. His son was named Methuselah, who lived 969 years and was the oldest man of the Bible. The 10th from Adam was Noah, and he was the 3rd patriarch. By the time of Noah, the world had become so wicked that God was sorry that he had made man on the earth. So God determined to destroy the whole earth and everything that creeped, and the birds also. Only Noah, his wife, his 3 sons, and their wives would be kept alive. God told Noah to build an ark, for he was going to destroy the earth. God told him exactly how to build it, for he was going to bring a great flood upon all the earth to destroy every living thing that walked on the earth or flew in the air, except those that he would keep safe in the ark. Just as God had said, there came a great flood over all the earth, and everything perished except the 8 people on the ark and the animals that were on the ark. After the flood had receded away and the ark was again on dry land, they all left the ark. God promised Noah and his descendants that he would never again destroy the earth with a flood. He set a rainbow in the cloud over the earth as a sign of this covenant that he had made with all flesh. When we see the rainbow, we are to remember this promise that God made with us. Thus I establish my covenant with you. Never again shall all flesh be cut off by the waters of the flood. Never again shall there be a flood to destroy the earth. The sign of this covenant is the rainbow. Noah and his sons went out from the ark, and his sons began to repopulate the earth. The names of Noah's sons were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. From Ham came Cush, and from Cush came Nimrod, who began to be a mighty one on the earth, and Nimrod built the city of Babylon. About 100 years after the flood, the earth was divided. This was in the days of Peleg. The Bible doesn't say anything else about Peleg except that the earth was divided in his days. Some Bible scholars contend that the earth was divided into continents and islands. Others believe the dividing was only of the languages when the Tower of Babel was destroyed and the people were scattered in Genesis 11. At the time the Tower of Babel was being built, there was only one language on the earth. God came down and saw that they were building this tower toward heaven, and he caused them to have different languages, and he scattered them abroad over the face of all the earth. Otherwise, they would be able to do anything they proposed to do. The 3rd patriarch was Abraham, first called Abram, who came from the lineage of Shem. The Bible doesn't give us any history as to why God called Abram to leave his father's country and go to a place where God would show him. And God made a very special promise to Abram. He said, "Get out of your country, from your family, and from your father's house, to a land that I will show you. I will make you a great nation. I will bless you and make your name great, and you shall be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse him who curses you, and in you all the families of the earth shall be blessed." Abram's father, Terah, was from the land of Ur of the Chaldeans, but he took his son Abram, his grandson Lot, and his daughter-in-law Sarai, who was Abram's wife, and they left Ur to go to the land of Canaan. But when they came to Haran, they dwelt there. Abram was 75 years old when God called him to leave his father's house